Hey guys, Brad Danger here, and so every few years the car internet collectively loses its mind over something, and 90% of the time it turns out to be a render from a design student in Poland? Yeah, it's not that. Nissan has officially, genuinely confirmed that the Skyline is coming back. A real teaser image, a real announcement, and while we're at it, it confirmed next generation GTR also in development. In the same breath, from Nissan, the same Nissan that spent the better part of a decade releasing front-wheel drive crossovers and hoping nobody noticed. And look, I totally get it. You're excited, I'm excited, but before we all start pre-ordering matching hoodies, we need to talk about something, because sitting right in the middle of what should be the greatest automotive comeback story of the decade is one decision, one brand call that could genuinely torpedo the whole thing before it even gets started. We're gonna get into all that, what the teaser actually shows us, a quick history lesson on what the Skyline actually was before the internet turned it into a myth, why the 400Z should be a warning Nissan takes seriously, what we know about the new GTR, and the one move that has me staring at the ceiling at night, wondering if anyone in that boardroom has ever been to a car meet before. Oh, and real quick before we dive in, well, you can get entered to win either this Fast and Furious inspired Mark V Supra or a Shelby GT350. Well, let me just show you. This Shelby GT350 right here. Now, all you got to do is click the pin first comment down below and get 100 free entries to not only win these cars plus bonus cash, but also we're giving away $100,000. Yes, click the link and let's go. So Nissan dropped a teaser image and it was dark. Of course it was dark. Every automaker teaser since the beginning of time has been shot in a room with one sad flickering bulb like they're hiding a government secret. But once you actually brighten the thing up, there's real substance in there. First thing that jumps out immediately, the round taillights. They're back. Circular, iconic, unmistakably Skyline. And that might sound like a small detail, but honestly, it's one of the most important things Nissan could have done, because the graveyard of botched legacy revivals is full of cars that kept the name and threw out everything else. The identity matters, the visual DNA matters, and the fact that someone at Nissan looked at the design brief and said, no, we are keeping those round taillights, and that person deserves a raise and a parking spot with their name on it. The car is confirmed as a 4-door, which, before anyone starts typing angrily in the comments, is not a betrayal. The Skyline has had 4-door variants going back decades. It was always part of the lineup. The 2-door GTR trim was the halo, but the 4-door was the version actual humans bought and drove to work and still felt good about. So relax on that one. The front end looks aggressive. Angular headlights with some serious attitude to them. Bold front fascia. It reads like a sports sedan that is done being polite. The full grille and underbody aero situation isn't fully visible yet, but the proportions look right. And if the powertrain rumors hold, twin turbo 5.6, potentially with a manual transmission, then the outside might actually match what's going on under the hood, which is rarer than it should be. Here's where I need to slow down for a second, because there's a misconception that's so widespread in car culture that it's basically become fact, and I want to clear it up. When people hear Nissan Skyline, they immediately picture the GTR, the Godzilla, the turbocharged all-wheel drive monster that embarrassed supercars at the Nürburgring and made every racing game feel more legitimate just by being in it. And yes, that car is real, it's legendary, and it deserves every piece of the reputation it has. But the Skyline, the nameplate itself, much bigger story. The Skyline has been around since 1957, and for the overwhelming majority of its existence, it was not a fire-breathing performance monster. It was a people's car, a family sedan, something your parents could drive to the supermarket and feel like they had something a little bit special without paying supercar money for it. Even during the golden era, the period that turned the Skyline into an internet legend. The GTR trim was the exception, not the rule. Take the R32 generation, the one everyone has as a wallpaper. The GTR version is iconic. Absolutely iconic. But most people buying an R32 Skyline were buying the GTS or the GTST, non-GTR variants with smaller engines, friendlier price tags, and a completely different mission statement. Same body, different car, and those versions were outselling the GTR significantly. Because not everyone has GTR money, but a lot of people have cool sports sedan money. The R34 is the exact same story. The V-Spec GTR is the legend, it's the poster, but the standard R34 coupes and sedans were moving in numbers that the GTR version never came close to. The Skyline worked because it had range. The GT-R was the dream. The regular Skyline was the reality that made the dream feel adjacent and attainable. They needed each other. So when Nissan brings back the Skyline as a four-door sporting sedan rather than a direct GT-R competitor, they're not missing the point. They're actually honoring the original intent of the car more accurately than people give them credit for, which is cool. What's not cool, we'll get to. Win a Mark V Supra with that twin-turbo straight six, or a Shelby GT350 with that screamin' flat-plane crank V8 Plus? Hit the pinned comment right now and grab your 100 free entries before they're gone. Good skill. Before we get to the branding disaster, we need to talk about the 400Z. Because it's relevant, very relevant. Nissan brought back the Z. People were pumped. It looked good. It had the twin-turbo V6 people wanted, and the manual was available. On paper, everything made sense, and then the pricing landed and the conversation got complicated fast. The 400Z, the higher output version of an already expensive car, you pushed the sticker into territory where buyers started doing math they didn't want to do. And that math led them places like the Toyota GR86, places like used super territory, places where the value proposition was sharper and the emotional equation added up cleaner. The Z name is powerful, but it turns out powerful names have a ceiling when the price climbs past what the market feels is fair. The 400Z is not flying off lots. That's just the reality. And it's not because it's a bad car. It isn't. It's because the enthusiast market is ruthless with value. These are people who read forums at midnight, who know what a car actually costs to build, who will drive 40 minutes to a dealership just to check the panel gaps. You don't fool them with legacy alone. The product has to earn the price, and the price has to respect who's being asked to pay it. If the new Skyline arrives and the sticker looks more like a luxury sedan than a JDM sports icon, the Skyline name will not save it. The 400Z already ran that experiment. We have the data. Nissan should look at it. Quick sidebar, because this also deserves its own moment. The next GTR, the R36 or whatever it ends up being called, is no longer a rumor. It is confirmed. Nissan said it. It's happening. And here's the part that matters most for the people who were already mentally writing the eulogy for internal combustion. It is not going to be an EV. It will be a hybrid. Yes, that's the compromise we're living with right now across the industry. But hybrid means there is still an engine in there. Still combustion, still sound. The car will still go burr, which, if you know why that matters. In the current landscape where every performance announcement comes with a quiet fear that it might be fully electric, getting confirmation that the next GTR will still burn something is genuinely good news. Take the win. All right, here we go. The thing, this new Skyline in the United States will almost certainly not be sold as the Nissan Skyline. Current expectations point strongly toward it being badged as the next Infiniti Q50. Same car underneath, completely different name on the outside. And if you know the history of this exact situation, you know why that is a genuinely painful decision to process. This has happened before. When Infiniti was established as Nissan's American luxury arm, the G35 was sold here while the same vehicle was simultaneously being sold in Japan as the Skyline. Enthusiasts figured this out. Of course they did. And what happened? People started rebadging their G35s with Nissan Skyline badges, and those people got absolutely destroyed for it. Online at Cars and Coffee in comment sections, the rebadge became a punchline, not because the facts were wrong, technically the car was the Skyline, but because the perception didn't transfer. The legend didn't follow the badge swap, it stayed in Japan. Now, Nissan appears ready to run the exact same play again with a car that actually genuinely looks like it deserves the Skyline name. The design is right, the powertrain rumor is right, the four-door sporting sedan format is right. Everything points toward a car that could walk into the American market and mean something. And instead of letting it mean something, the plan is apparently to fold it into the Infiniti lineup and call it a Q50 and move on. Let's be honest about where Infiniti stands culturally right now. It's not a bad brand, the cars work, but the cars work is not how you sell a legend. Infiniti doesn't carry the weight in enthusiast spaces that Nissan does. The Q50 specifically has become known less for its performance credentials and more for other things. Groups of Q50 and Q60 owners have been banned from Cars and Coffee events across the country. That's the current cultural association. It's not fair to every individual owner, but perception is the game in marketing, and that's the perception that exists. Compare that to what a Nissan Skyline badge does. You walk up to someone at a meet, you say Skyline. That word does 30 years of storytelling in one syllable. It conjures the GTR, it conjures Japan, it conjures racing history and tuner culture in every version of Gran Turismo anyone has ever played late at night. It is one of the most culturally loaded names in automotive history, and Nissan is about to put it in a drawer. Imagine, seriously, picture this, telling your friend that you're picking up the new Nissan Skyline with a twin-turbo 6, and a manual. The reaction to that sentence is a very specific kind of reaction. It creates something. Now replace that with, I'm getting the new Infiniti Q50, same car, completely different energy, completely different conversation, completely different ceiling for what this car can become in the culture. Infiniti needs product, sure. That logic makes spreadsheet sense, but some decisions need to be made looking at the culture first and the spreadsheet second. The Skyline name is an asset worth more than a quick lineup slot. Nissan should use it. So that's where we are, a confirmed Skyline with strong design bones and a promising powertrain rumor, a confirmed next generation GTR that will not be electric. Real momentum for a brand that desperately needs some, and one naming decision that could either make this car a genuine cultural moment or just a luxury sedan that automotive forums argue about for 6 months and then forget. So, what do you guys think? Should Nissan sell this as a Skyline in the US, or does the Infiniti Q50 rebadge actually make sense to you? Tell me in the comments down below. I want to hear the other side of this. And before you go, don't sleep on WinThisIdealCar.com. Get entered to win this Mark V Supra or a Shelby GT350. Plus, we're giving away $100,000 in cold hard cash to someone. So click that link in the pinned first comment, like, subscribe so we hit 2 mil by the end of the year, and check out some of these Ideal vids over here. I'm Brad Danger. This is Ideal. Promise me one thing, keep living the ideal lifestyle.